Jolan true, Centurions, and welcome back to another episode of Starfleet Command, Orion Pirates. I am Admiral Tirak of the battleship RAS Fetus as we continue our campaign against the United Federation of Planets, and we are doing relatively well, although somewhat stuck on the siege of the planet S95, to the point where, as you can see, we are somewhat dented, but we shall prevail. We do know that there is a friendly station at 9-6, so we will continue the siege at least one last time, and then hop on home for a little bit of repair. And we will, of course, go on the planetary assault. One, because we are starting to think that maybe a couple of patrol missions may have bugged out scripts, and that's not something we can quite fix in this edition of the game, or not in this specific campaign. So once we finish and start a different campaign, should we choose to do so at the end of Season 8, we can take certain patrol missions out of the mission list, and that will bring us no problems whatsoever going forward. But for now, we're going to try and avoid patrol missions just a little bit. I do prefer them. It's a straight-up, generally one-on-one match, which is a lot of fun. Anyway, let's focus on what we're doing. We do see a dreadnought, of course, a battleship of some sort. According to this, it is a BBX, so a full-on combat dreadnought. Well, battleship. Equipped with the maximum number of heavy weapons, and only 2 fighters, or maybe 4 fighters. Doesn't matter, it's not that many, and we have better fighters. In those numbers, our pseudo-frigates actually probably could survive outside of the vessel. Let's make sure we're not forgetting to set our torpedoes to enveloping mode. We do know that these BBXs are fully capable of taking an entire shot from all of our enveloping plasma torpedoes, and keep on going. It's kind of scary, actually. So let's make sure that we are buffing up that forward shield, reinforce it to full power. We will no, we don't need to reduce speed because we never really got all that fast. 4 points of ECCM, 2 points of ECM. We're going to make him have to spend a little bit if he wants to actually fight us. His photon torpedoes, of course, extremely vulnerable to ECM. I'm not quite sure the exact numbers on how that works, but the way that the Big Book of Armaments describes it is that they are extremely vulnerable. So we will try and take the best advantage of that. We are still not quite at full power. We're 83 of 84, so we will continue to patch things up, but we should enter this battle at pretty much full effectiveness, which will be interesting and fun. Plasma torpedoes are almost ready to rock. I really should set this stern firing plasma torpedo to normal mode, simply because it's not going to get to shoot with the rest of them. Also, I've been concerning myself with how big this ship is and how long it takes for plasma torpedoes to get anywhere, and there is a distinct lag in the time when the stern firing or the stern plasma torpedoes hit based on where the nose plasma torpedoes hits, and it brings me a little bit of concern. So he has started to engage from long range. According to our power stats, we are 34 points of energy into that forward shield, and it ate all of that without even flinching. Lovely. He has deployed, of course, his fighters. We shall hold off on ours until after we have launched our pseudo-frigate or pseudo-torpedo barrage. That way, they won't waste their plasma torpedoes. Fire now! So yeah, the Fs and the S's lag behind the R's quite considerably, and it does bring me a little concern. And I'm thinking about whether or not I should start trying to step launch those weapons. He has begun to engage with his defensive systems. Shall launch our pseudo-frigates on harassment mode, get them out of the bays and fighting before anything can be done. Our phasers we're going to set to overload, and according to GTA, if you activate your phasers in point defense mode, they will not be on overload mode, which is fascinating. Okay, so we've managed to deal with that. He has no more fighters, and we do. So we're turning back in on him. We're going to slow down just a little bit, get a little bit more firepower onto the forward systems. As soon as he hits a fast enough speed, we will be able to launch our plasma, and we will stage it. So prepare the light plasma torpedoes first. 3.3, 3.5, engage. And stand by, now. That, not quite the step that I would want, and wow, we managed to do quite a bit of good work there. Continue engage with phasers and come about to starboard. Guys, spread out for me a little bit. I don't want you getting caught in, the aftermath of this is. He managed to lash out with a lot of his heavy weapons and almost took out one of our shields. We're getting around to a stern firing plasma torpedo. That's all of them out. Set them back to normal. And holy crap! How many transporters do you have? We are down to a speed where that will not be effective. Unfortunately, he's in a really nasty place for us. All other stern firing weapons engage at will, if you can. There we go. Hopefully trying to shock a couple of systems down. We probably could try and capture him. I'm actually fairly confident we would have the advantage here. I might be wrong, though. He did hurt himself a little bit with his own photon torpedoes, and we don't have the numbers of our own infantry to do it, but we could if we were fully topped off, and I assume after that barrage, yeah, we actually could do it now. Unfortunately, he is so badly damaged, I don't want to waste the time or the effort on it. So we're going to slow down a little bit, let our shields just be super tanky and buff here, and continue to fire on him as best as we can. He does maintain a speed of 8.7, which does mean he does have advantage in this fight, as we are not really maneuverable at all, and he's hurting himself every time he fires his heavy weapons from this close. Except for the missiles, of course, but we can handle his missiles. It's just a little bit off from being able to engage our own phasers. And unfortunately, because of that, he's going to get around to a very nasty position. We did, however, hurt ourselves a little bit in the back blast of that. However, the enemy target is destroyed, and wow, 14 points of energy damage we've taken. So let's focus back on this planet and set our pseudo frigates. We want you to harass the planet. Go ahead and do that. You can do that, and you can do that. We'll set our sights on the planet. According to this, it is just a PL4. Once again, no phaser planet, so this should not be too heavily defended. Go ahead, set our plasma torpedoes to enveloping mode for maximum damage. Increase the speed of time, and we will steadily trundle along and patch up all the broken stuff, because there's a pretty decent number of broken things. Also, at the same time, we'll come in here, 0 and 0. The target is actually projecting some form of ECM, which is interesting. So we will have to put a little bit of ECCM to counteract that. Just make sure that he can't stop our outgoing fire. He went to 5 points of power to do it. We will keep up with this, making sure that he gets no defensive shift whatsoever. I can match you. I'm a battleship. I can do this all day with you. Especially traveling at the speed we're traveling at. Okay, so he's going to go full. We're going to go full. So we're just going to match him point for point on ECCM against his ECM. We'll also increase the speed of our ship a little bit. Make sure to keep patching the engines. We are starting to get down to our bottom 8 rack here. So we do need to go home and repair quite a bit of stuff. So that we are back to full energy status. All our labs are repaired and ready to rock. And apparently he's now putting out a whole bunch of ECCM because he thinks that, you know, he needs to stop us. Maybe our pseudo frigates are putting out a bunch of ECM. Yes they are. Wow, I did not know that you could power that much ECM on your ships. So they're trying to target those. Luckily, our pseudo frigates are set to distraction mode, harassment, so they will not get close enough in order to get shot at by those phaser 3s. No concern there. And GTA also pointed out that we can stun their phaser 3s with a pseudo barrage, which of course we'll do. I mean, there's no reason not to. It's not like we need a whole bunch of extra energy for all this sort of thing. So they are firing and now switching to ECCM again. They're not quite making up their mind on what they want to do, but they can't stop us, and they can't stop our pseudo frigates, so they're done for. Because this planet has only phaser 3s, we can get in right on top of them, and we will slow all the way down just so that we don't smash into the planet, and then we'll increase. I didn't mean to press that button. Didn't quite mean to press that button, because now we're stuck here. And engines came back on. So I wanted to get a little bit closer so that I could actually fire plasma F torpedoes as well. So we shall fire and fire. And of course, fire. So 395 basically in that 2-stage assault. How are you for Marines? 4. Stop. Go over, Marines. Everybody except one guy got off. So we do need to restock a lot of things. However, the enveloping plasma torpedoes do make these missions much, much faster once, you know, we've blasted through the shields. Although lately we haven't been running into plasma shields. That may just because we're engaging a planet so far on the fringes of territory. But mission complete and planet captured. Let's see how much prestige we earned for that wonderful mission. And it was a grand total of 495, so pretty normal there. Still didn't take the planet? Really? Wow. I'm a little bit surprised and slightly disappointed. So we will go, of course, to supplies. 364 damage plus 19. Pseudo frigates are perfectly fine. And our miscellaneous equipment, well, we're going to top up on a lot of things. Mainly all the Marines, because, you know, Marines, they're very useful. They're kind of a get-out-of-jail-free card. The AI doesn't quite handle getting boarded and captured super well. They kind of get to a point where it's like, oh my god, you've boarded and captured this vessel. Destroy it. Everybody focus on that vessel they just captured and annihilate it. Which, you know, buys you precious, precious time. So, unfortunately, it's a diplomatic delivery. I don't like doing diplomatic deliveries, not because they're inherently bad missions, just because I prefer to blow things up. Granted, they do allow us to blow up something on this mission generally. Red alert, it's another dreadnought. Who would have thunk it? Of course, we're going to come over here, set the plasma torpedoes to enveloping mode, check on which kind of dreadnought. It is a BVX, the USS something or other. So according to our scanners, no additional targets and no friendlies aside from the conference planet. So we'll just trundle on in here at a reasonably low speed. We don't need to get too heavily up into speed yet. And increase the speed of time. Come over here, set our phasers to overload. Our plasma torpedoes are on enveloping. Light plasma torpedoes, of course, cannot be set to anything other than normal or offline, sadly. And heavy plasma torpedoes most certainly can. So steadily trundling along, we will now come in to reinforce these forward shields to the maximum level. Make sure it's the reinforce on just the forward shield. We don't need 360 protection here. Come in here for the ECM, ECCM. We'll go with, of course, our 4 and 2. And that ought to put us in a reasonably solid position to basically wipe him out. Increase our speed to around 11. We're not the most maneuverable ship in the universe, but we try. And check the power stats, just to see how much energy. Ooh, he almost got through, but not quite. Slow down the speed of time to something more reasonable for normal people. Select all plasma torpedoes and engage pseudos. Are you coming towards me or not? It's not super clear. So we will begin, of course, to turn off just a little bit. We will have to turn back into him, which is a little bad because that's going to be his forward shields, which he's quite strong. And we do not have a 100% chance of making a high energy turn, so that will not be great. We shall prepare to launch our pseudo-frigates in harassment mode before his fighters get close enough to shoot them before their shields come on. Turning back into the vessel. Oh, he's starting to increase in speed, but we're not quite ready for him yet. Target the Hawks. Phasers, engage. There we go. Took him all out. All weapons select. He did engage with his normal weapons complement. And we shall return fire. Tractor defense to active. Turn completely off. And did you lower your forward shields? You did. The downside of that is going to be he's going to have forward shields. They should be at full power. Keep firing. Just break him down. Make him cry while we get down to a speed of 4 and hopefully get our stern shields to maintain existence. So we've managed to hit quite a few systems, set our plasma torpedoes back to normal mode. We don't need to be spending the power. And continue to fire at full... Wow, I did not realize we could do quite that much damage with just a partial barrage. 77 points of energy going out. Of course, we are firing in overload mode for the additional amount of damage. He has completely almost chunked through one of his shields with his Gatling phasers. That is one of the grand advantages of said Gatling phasers. They are wonderful weapons. And wow, he got some photon torpedoes in through that one. Unfortunately, we're charging the wrong shield to actually do anything to him. But as long as we keep hurting him, he should be ours. He's down to a speed of 7. He is down to 2 phaser X's over there, and 4 phaser X's there, which I assume are a full mount. Continue to blast into him. Real slow. We'll just stop. Let him go right on by us. Because unfortunately, I don't think I can outmaneuver him. It's one of the reasons I'm not super huge fan of this ship. It's just, I don't have the maneuverability options that I'm used to having. And it's like, well, I can just sort of tank this. Which, you know, we can. We are, of course, a battleship, fully capable of tanking anything that they want to throw at us. Faster phaser 3s first, simply because they take less, I suppose, effort to fix. So, long-range incoming plasma fire. I don't want to fire my plasma torpedoes from this close, and luckily we won't have to. So we'll come over here. You return to me. You return to me. We're at full charge on energy, so there is that. Set our ship to green alert, because we do not need weapons anymore. And increase the speed of the ship. Wait for our little pseudo-frigate buddies to get back on board. And docked. Wonderful. Target the planet and increase the speed of the vessel. Just chug it to full power. Oh, yeah, we don't need that, and we don't need this. Off and off. And you are off, so you're not providing any power there. So we can actually maintain the speed of 31 on green alert, which I suppose makes a lot of sense. This is our cruising speed. And increase the speed of time, because we just want to get to the planet. We would like to end this mission on a high note, and hopefully not crash into the planet itself. That would be bad. I wonder if I can trick them into launching their wild weasels from a longer range. 15 I know works, and that's why I launched at about 15. But if I do it from further away, if I can still get away with it, then I can have more maneuverability options, and that's really the main issue here. Is the fact that we have to get too close so that by the time we fire our massive plasma torpedo barrage, we're basically on top of them. So prepare for the crash stop. Of course, we do not want to smash into the planet. 6, And stop. We're not stopping! Yes, we will. We'll stop in time. Still, that's pretty close. We continue to travel like 2 AU before we actually manage to halt. It's 20,000 kilometers, not 2 AU. Although, maybe an AU is 10,000 kilometers? Don't think so. Don't know enough about spatial distances like that. We have managed to do that. 280 prestige is our reward. That'll pay for the spare parts, sure. And another planetary assault that we're going to kick ourselves off on. So another operation against a planet. This planet likely will be better defended. No, it's BL-14, so no defenses whatsoever. Come over here, make sure that we set up our enveloping plasma torpedoes, and we have our target, which is another battleship, a BBVX. So we are now running into a battleship carrier. They've decided that the BBs are not quite doing it for them. They need something with a little bit more firepower. Or actually, less firepower, but more fighter power. That will not work for them. Although, that actually is going to be a little bit of a problem, because normally we're able to take out their fighters without any concern whatsoever, simply by, firing our phasers into one group. They're going to have 16 fighters now, which is a little bit of a problem. We are escorted, of course, today by IKV Carnivorous, a fully armed B-11. Look at all those weapon systems. Mainly, look at the missile launchers on that thing. It's got 12, which is pretty impressive for a non-Merak ship. We, of course, have 0 missile launchers. Half the galaxy doesn't use them. So, currently squaring off against this dreadnought. Make sure that we are going through the full fun for 2. There we go. Forward shields to maximum firepower right there. 1, 2, overload. 2 is set to enveloping. Wonderful. We are rigged and ready to rock. Check our power management screen, which is just an easier way to actually get an actual number for how much energy we're putting into our shield. That's actually a UI complaint I have here. This doesn't tell me anything. It tells me something, which is not clear at all. This tells me exactly how much energy I'm putting into that shield. And 1 point of energy, if you're charging only one shield, is worth 1 point of damage. So I have 25.8 points of damage that I can absorb to the front before I start taking any actual permanent shield damage. I think I want to flex out a little bit this way, make sure that he can get a better angle, and it'll also force him to decide exactly what he wants to engage. He'll probably come for me. The AI generally will. But hey, if he turns off to go after the Carnivorous, that would really help things out. Of course, we are now facing away from him, which means his incoming photon torpedoes, which will fire relatively shortly, are going to be not great, because we won't be able to bounce them on our 28.5 points of defensive weapons. And he is engaging the Carnivorous. Excellent. That'll give us a better angle to engage from. So keep going around. As long as he's willing to be flanked, I'm willing to flank him. And if his fighters don't come for me, then we'll be in a fantastic position. If you make this turn towards me, that's going to make you incredibly vulnerable. Will you do it, or will you turn in with the Carnivorous? Who do you want to tango with, friend? He's maintaining a speed of 20, which is pretty considerable. We could do that, but we would have 8.5 points of energy in our defensive system. It is the USS Richards, and he is turning in. He's committing to his fight with the Carnivorous, which is probably a good plan. How many fighters do you have left? I don't think all that many. Oh, no, 3 groups. So prepare to engage with pseudoplasma torpedoes. Oh, he dumped his Wild Weasel. He dumped it early. Well, not early. He went after the scatter pack, but still. Oh, that's gonna be lovely. Get ready for a single R-type plasma torpedo fired in defensive mode. Let's kick the engines up. We need to get in there. We don't have very good acceleration for this, but if we can get in here, we can have a great time. Range of 15 is when we're going to fire it. We'll do it to sap all of his defenses. You and you. And then surely before we actually commit to our weapons, we'll fire. So get ready to engage with all of the plasma. Incoming forward barrage. He did get through our forward shields, but we do have enough to tank it. And fire everything. And now begin to turn off. We're going to turn to starboard. Harass. Go. Go. And go. And we've knocked out pretty much all of his shields. Blast in with the phasers. It's a little bit of a long range shot. 54 damage dealt out there. And his shields are, for the most part, gone. Let's turn completely away from him. We've got all of our plasma torpedoes out. Set them back to normal mode. And there we go. Almost knocked out that forward shield. I really would like that forward shield down. And we've got a little bit more power we can put into the engines. And do I dump a mine? I'm tempted to. He does have full photon torpedoes. So mine's out. I do need to begin a turn relatively soon before he gets a chance to engage with those photon torpedoes, because they are on a strictly limited arc. Oh, excellent. So just keep blinking away. Cannot fire. We did not want to cloak. Accidentally hit the X key instead of the Z key as we were coming around. So continue to fire. Try not to hit my mine. That would be embarrassing if you did that. And we are in a really nice position. He does have... I think he had... No, he does not. The BBVs do not have the stern-firing photon torpedo. They must have used that to make room for the hangar bay. Alright, so we are in an excellent position right behind him. He does not have any missile launchers left, so he really doesn't have any stern-firing weapons either. He's crippled and almost dead in space. Well, I get to kill over the Richards. The carnivores did, not the Richards. The Richards was who we were trying to kill. And now we'll set off our own mine. There's no reason not to. Bounce it off that shield if you don't mind. Thank you. And target the planet. We'll set you, of course, to harass the planet. And harass the planet. There's no reason not to. You're not exactly a well-armed planet. And plasma torpedoes set back to enveloping mode. And maximize the speed of time. Just so we can get there. Also, we'll go 6, which you can only have 6 points of energy into your ECM system. That is the maximum that they allow in this game. I don't know if that's the maximum allowed in Starfleet battles. Likely for all ships except for the X-ships. The X-ships may have some exceptions. Because also, I'm fairly certain that in normal Starfleet battles, the speed limit is also 31, except for the X-ships, which can do faster. And I heard that some people were working on modding it and allowed the X-ships to go faster than that speed, which would be pretty interesting. There's a lot of things that Fire Souls mod makes a lot better, but there's a lot of things that could be done to make it even more better. Yes, that's good English, yes. And there's a couple of things that could be done if, the game ever got remade by a company who was faithful to retelling of what this game tried to do, that would make this game absolutely incredibly amazing. And, please at some point let that happen. Because this game is too good not to get a more modern remake. And it wouldn't even have to do all that much. Most of the UI is fine. I mean, there's a couple of tweaks and additions that can be done to make it easier to read and simpler to use. Mainly sharpening up these cursors a bit for a few of the factions, because some of the faction cursors are really bad. And, improving the graphics of planets, which I have been told the planetary mod is almost complete, and I really want to put it into my game, because as you can see, these planets are kind of ugly. But if the same thing can be done to these planets as was done to the HD backgrounds, that would just be oh so wonderful. Of course, the planets are not so easy to change in the backgrounds because you actually have to change models and things. Make sure we get within transporter range before we all stop. And I'll stop. There we go. Pseudo torpedoes first. Real torpedoes after that. Just eat up any sort of firepower, and whoopsie! We did 400 damage there. Wonderful. How many people are left on the planet? Not enough. Come on, keep going. There we go. That's all we need. Because I was on increased speed of time, we didn't do that quite as efficiently as I would have liked. I wanted to beam over 3 people instead of like the 5 I think I ended up setting. So almost taking the planet. We are going to wait around a little while. We're going to be a little bit more efficient with our marine usage. Yeah, we've got 48 of them, but we have a really big transporter room. So dumping them all on a single planet that has 2 people, not really worth it. So we have pretty much taken the planet, just waiting for our people to move around and finish securing things while we're waiting. We'll come over here. Oh, the ship is ours. Well, it's a planet, guys. There's a difference. Excellent. Hopefully this will capture the planet, because this has been a lot of fighting over this ball of dirt, which, frankly, has no defenses. It's a neutral tile. 495 prestige once again. Still not captured the planet. This planet is being more stubborn than capitals, than homeworld assaults. What the heck, game? It's a very important planet to take, because this is on the border of the Marak right here, the Federation right here, the Lyrans are up here, the Klingons are over here. Now granted, the Klingons and Lyrans are our allies, but I really want this planet to complete sort of the encirclement we've got going on here. Now of course there's a couple of Federation territories down here which are still trying to make inroads, but if we can complete this encirclement for the most part, maybe even just start coming around over here entirely and wrap up the whole Federation, that'd be kind of funny. But the planet will fall, just not today, sadly. And today we will now end the episode right here. I've been Admiral Tirak, which is now Fleet Admiral Tirak. We are now the highest rank in the entire Romulan Navy. We have the big badge now. I've been Tirak. If you like what you've been seeing, hit that like button and subscribe. If you want to receive a notification every time I release one of these videos, press that little bell icon, leave a comment, and I will see you all in the next video.